Hey guys, I wanted to come on here tonight and talk to you a little about something that you may be surprised, or if you've been following me for a while, you may not be surprised. But in my title on Facebook, I put that I quit believing in breakfast, and that is 100% true. And so I'm going to share with you guys why I stopped believing in breakfast and what it did for my life. If you are catching the replay, thank you so much for joining. I see a lot of people hopping on Instagram, which is awesome. So if you are watching this live, if you wouldn't mind putting that you're watching it live in the comments, or if you're watching this on the replay, just let me know in the comments if you're watching it on the replay. It kind of just helps me gauge analytics and timing and things like that. So if you were following my Instagram stories earlier today, I had you guys go comment on my Instagram post and ask me or let me know what questions you had mostly about intermittent fasting. And if you're new to following me, intermittent fasting is something that I have done for the last probably year and a half, and it has completely changed the game for my wellness journey, how I feel, and how much energy I have. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about intermittent fasting, why I no longer believe in breakfast, and what you can start doing to have the tools by the end of this video to start implementing intermittent fasting before the new year even starts. So if you're catching the replay, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for those that are hopping on live. My name is Lindsay Holsey. I am the creator of the Fast Track to Fit, and I'm also a nurse, which is why I'm so passionate about the health and wellness industry. And I am on a mission to help empower women to ditch the quick fixes and create a sustainable lifestyle. So again, thank you so much for watching. You'll probably see me hopping back and forth between comments on Instagram and then on Facebook as well. And again, if you're just now hopping on, let me know that you're here. Say hey, give me a little wave or a little emoji. Hey, Tabitha. Hey, Lacey. It's good to see you guys. And just let me know that you're here. So let's just go over really quickly, because I feel like in my stories it's really hard for me to talk about intermittent fasting and tell you everything that I want to tell you without it getting cut off, or something getting cut off, or you missing a piece that needs to be, put in the middle. So intermittent fasting is not a diet. So if you do a lot of research, or if you're Googling a lot, you may see that it's like a fad diet. Intermittent fasting is not a diet. It is an eating schedule, and this is where you consciously make a decision to eat your first meal of the day a little bit later in the day. And I'm going to tell you why that's super important. And so historically, we have been told as a society that we need to be eating right when our feet hit the ground, first thing when we wake up, or else our metabolism is going to slow down. That is absolutely false. The way that your body physiologically works, that is creating obesity, it's creating diabetes and all of those things. So I'm going to kind of talk you through how and why intermittent fasting can help stabilize those hormones like insulin, ghrelin, leptin, all of those hunger and satiety hormones as well. So intermittent fasting is, sometimes it's scary to people. They hear the fasting word, they hear the F word, and they're like, oh my gosh, like, so you don't eat for forever. Like, you just sit there and you fast, because you hear about all these people doing like month-long fasts and things like that. With intermittent fasting, you have to think of it as intermittent. So it's not constant. It's every so often, or it's just not something that you're doing for a prolonged period of time. It's intermittent. And so there are so many different types of intermittent fasting protocols, and it can kind of get overwhelming if you're looking it up or you're trying to do research to figure out if you want to implement intermittent fasting into your daily schedule. I will say that it's super important to make sure that you're doing it by a guided professional, or you're doing intermittent fasting guided by a professional, just because if you do it wrong and you're not getting all of the nutrients that you need within that feeding window, you are going to make your hormones and your metabolism even worse off than you started. So it's really important that if you decide to do intermittent fasting, you're doing it guided. So if you have any questions about intermittent fasting while I'm on, go ahead and put them in the comments below as well. I am going to be answering a lot of questions that I had today on my Instagram. And so if I don't answer something, you can always DM me, because if I didn't answer it on here, then most likely most people will have those questions as well. So like I said, intermittent fasting is not a diet, it is an eating schedule. And the way that we do it, the way that I teach my clients to do it is called the lean gains approach. And this is where we are fasting every single day, but we are doing most of our fasting while we're sleeping. What we are doing is we're choosing to eat our first meal of the day a little bit later. And so typically you may see people talk about having a certain amount of hours within your eating window. And that is absolutely true. We do have a certain amount of hours that we will eat all of our nutrients in. And it's usually about an 8 to 10 hour window. This is the window that is going to have the less amount of effects, the negative effects on women's hormones. Because if you're fasting too long without eating all of the nutrients that you need, it can be really hard on a woman's body. So again, that's why it's really important that you make sure that if you do decide to do intermittent fasting, that you're doing it and you're being guided by a professional. And so there are so many benefits of intermittent fasting. There's a lot of research that's coming out to show that it is decreasing obesity, it's increasing longevity, it's increasing natural hormones in your body like HGH to increase your fat burn and maintain that muscle protection while you're doing that fast. So a lot of people get nervous and they say, well, if I train while I'm fasted, everyone says I have to drink protein right after I work out. And if you're doing intermittent fasting, that's not true. Your body is going to naturally increase its natural HGH. So if you're wanting to start your intermittent fasting journey, I'm going to say this again. You guys are going to get tired of me saying this, but I just have to preface it and put it out there. You need to make sure that you're doing it by a guided professional. But if you wanted to start, you can start doing it very slowly throughout the day. And if let's say you're somebody who you are a religious breakfast eater, you wake up and you feel like you're about to pass out if you don't put something in your mouth as soon as you get into the kitchen. That's okay. You can still slowly start to do intermittent fasting. What I would recommend that you do is each day moving forward, like if you wanted to start trying it tomorrow and you normally eat breakfast at 6, you should probably try eating breakfast the next day around 7 and then increase your time each day until you get to the exact eating window that you want to start eating at and you want to break your fast. What this is going to do is it's going to allow your insulin levels to stabilize. It's going to allow your blood sugar levels to stabilize, because if you think about it, let's say historically we're all kind of grazers at night and we finish eating some ice cream around 11:30. If you're new to kind of the effects of insulin and blood sugar, there's a lot of sugar in ice cream. If you eat that at 11:30 at night, you're spiking your blood sugar. It's natural. It's what happens in your body. Every time you eat, your blood sugar spikes. In order to counteract that spike in blood sugar, your body is going to want to release a hormone called insulin. So if you knew that if you knew that insulin was a hormone, give me a high five or give me a hands up, because I'm really interested to see how many people knew that insulin was actually a hormone. So in response to that spike in blood sugar, your body is going to release a hormone called insulin. Anytime that insulin is in your system trying to counteract that blood sugar, you are not able to burn fat. It is like the antithesis of fat burn. And insulin stays in your body for about 8 to 12 hours after it has that spike. So let's say you had that ice cream at 11:30, you spiked your insulin, and then the next morning you wake up at 5 a.m. and you have your oatmeal with sugar, brown sugar, maple syrup, all the things, and you spike your insulin again. You never gave your body time to truly get that insulin level low and stabilize your insulin levels and actually tap into your fat. So that is why intermittent fasting is so important. That's why you hear a lot of people talk about fasted cardio and why it's so good to wake up and do cardio, because that is when you are able to deplete your glycogen, deplete your carbohydrates, your insulin levels are level or at a low point, and you're able to tap into your fat stores. So that is one of the reasons why you might hear people talk about doing fasted cardio. Let me see. I'm trying to look through any other questions that I might have. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to hey guys. Hey, Carrie. And let's see. So a lot of questions that I get with intermittent fasting is what types or what can I actually have while I'm fasting? And so I think it's really interesting the mindset that a lot of people have actually going into intermittent fasting. They're already thinking about things that they can't have or what they're going to be able to do to kind of get through their fasting window, even though it's really only 5 hours while you're awake. But the rule of thumb, if it was me, if I could tell you guys anything, if you put anything in your mouth, you are not fasting. I mean, that's just it. But there are certain rules of thumb that you can do. You're not technically going to spike your insulin. So that's what I focus on with my clients, whereas we're really focusing on making sure that we do not have that insulin spike while we are in our fasting state so that we can continue to get that fat burn as we go on. So certain liquids that you can have. Really, anything that's low, 0 calorie, like sparkling waters, hot coffee, black teas, herbal teas, anything that has 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 0 fiber, those are all really great things that you can have while you're fasting. So I get a lot of questions about bulletproof coffee, and I get a lot of questions about collagen. So if you are somebody who loves bulletproof coffee, there are so many benefits of bulletproof coffee, and I'll kind of get into that later, probably not today. I won't get into the benefits of bulletproof coffee, but that is basically doing a fat fast. So if you drink bulletproof coffee in the morning and you also have oatmeal, you are probably finding that you're gaining weight because you should not be having that much fat while you're having that much carbohydrates as well. But if you are not having anything for breakfast, if you're doing intermittent fasting, having bulletproof coffee, having all of that butter and that MCT oils, those will really help you feel satiated because fats help you feel satiated longer. So fats are not bad. Fats don't make you fat, but if you're eating a high fat, high carb diet, chances are you will gain fat. Yay, so glad I was able to answer your question. James said, I put a drop of milk in. Is that okay? If you put a drop of milk in, that's okay, but I have a feeling that it's not a drop of milk. The rule of thumb with milk and creamers is if it's 1 to 2 teaspoons and you absolutely have to have it, that's okay. But typically what we usually do, like I used to have 4 tablespoons of French vanilla creamer and put it in my coffee, that will absolutely break your fast. But if you are just doing 1 to 2 teaspoons or so of like almond milk, then that's okay. The lactose in milk will break your fast. So just kind of be aware of that. Now let's get into collagen. So we kind of talked about bulletproof coffee. If I didn't answer your question about bulletproof coffee well enough, let me know, but that's basically considered a fat fast. So you're still fasting, you're not spiking your insulin, but you want to make sure that you're not having breakfast. If you go to these cafes that have bulletproof coffee, you don't want to be getting the pastry and having the bulletproof coffee and all of that fat because your body, you need to be in a fasted state when you're drinking bulletproof coffee, in my opinion. So as far as collagen goes, does collagen break your fast? So if you follow me on Instagram, you notice that I have a scoop, which is a half a serving of Vital Proteins collagen peptides every single day in my coffee. That usually ends up being about 35 calories, and it's straight protein, straight collagen. Like I said, anything you put in your mouth while you're fasting is going to break your fast, but our goal is to not spike our insulin. So the collagen is not going to spike your insulin, but be aware that the collagen creamer is not the same as straight collagen peptides, the grass-fed collagen peptides. So you want to make sure that you're really looking at the ingredients of the collagen peptides that you're putting in your coffee. If you're interested, if you're new to my videos and you're wondering like, what the heck is a collagen peptide? I have a supplement video on my YouTube that you can go check that out as well. You can, if you can't find it, just message me and I'll send you the link. But that is what I use collagen for. It's really great for gut health, really great for your skin. Absolutely love it for joints and all of that good stuff as well. Another big question that I get about during intermittent fasting is, can you have sweeteners and stevia and things like that while you're fasting? Hey Shelby, I like to tell you guys, no, I don't recommend having any type of artificial sweeteners, whether it's as natural as possible. I don't recommend putting any sweetener in your body. A lot of times that can kind of trigger your hunger hormone. And that's one of the things that we're really working on is stabilizing our hormones during that fasted state. Hey, Carol, thanks for joining. If you guys have any questions, if I haven't been going over them, let me know, and you can just put them in the comments below. Okay, so one of the last questions that I want to answer is the creamer alternatives that don't break your fast. So like I said, if you have to, you can have 1 to 2 teaspoons of some kind of like almond milk or non-dairy creamer or just non-dairy milk. But I do like the nut pods. They're Whole30 approved, they're paleo. I think they're very clean. But again, just using 1 to 2 teaspoons of that, if you're having a latte in the morning, just know you've got like this much coffee and like that much milk in your latte. So you want to make sure that you kind of know what ingredients are going into your drinks whenever you're doing intermittent fasting. Another liquid that I love to drink that kind of helps me through my fasting period is bone broth. And again, I have a whole video dedicated to bone broth, why I like it, why I feel like it's good for you, what my favorite bone broths are. That's all on my YouTube, so you can find that there. But bone broth is not going to spike your insulin. So you'll also see, just like I was talking about having a 1 to 2 teaspoons, yeah, that's hard. Just like I was talking about having a fat fast with your bulletproof coffee, you can also have like a bone broth fast. So that is definitely something that you can drink, and I definitely recommend to my clients and my advanced clients when we do our extended fasts. There was one other thing that I wanted to mention. Oh, branched chain amino acids. So you may see these, the acronym for these, BCAAs, so branched chain amino acids. A lot of times bodybuilders or people that work out will drink these amino acids while they're working out. And these help with muscle recovery, repair, soreness, all of that good stuff, and just really help give your muscles the amino acids that it needs to build on itself. And you can absolutely have these while you are intermittent fasting. They are not going to break your fast. It's basically like drinking the collagen as well. So I do recommend my clients to drink BCAAs throughout the day when we're doing our extended fast, and even when we're doing our intermittent fast as well. Hey, Roxana, thanks for joining. And so really quickly, just to give you guys a recap while I'm going through, if you think of any other questions, let me know. I would love to answer them for you while I'm on here. And I've got you guys. I like it to be more of like a conversation. But also, if you found this information valuable, please share it out. If you think it's something that people would really want to hear, there are so many benefits of intermittent fasting, and that is why I no longer believe in breakfast. I do not eat breakfast unless I'm in a social situation. And that's another thing that I want to say. A lot of people are worried that if you don't do your exact intermittent fasting window every single day, you're not going to see results. And that's not true. It's really great actually to give your body a reset, or kind of, trick it up a little bit, just like changing up your workout. So sometimes I might go out to brunch, or over Christmas, I had breakfast, I had cinnamon bun rolls. Like, it's completely okay. It's not going to throw you off your game, being off track, or being, not on your usual schedule. It's actually kind of good to switch it up on your body like that a little bit. On BCAAs, is it not recommended if your BCAA has sweetener, even if it's 0 calories? I think that's probably okay. You want it to be as clean as it possibly can, and but you don't want to be adding any stevias or any sugar alcohols if you can avoid it while you're fasting. But usually it's okay if it's in your BCAAs. I know mine has BCAAs, but if your BCAAs have sugar, which I'm not sure I found any that do, then you want to stay away from it, because that will for sure raise your insulin levels and your blood sugar. So which BCAAs do you recommend? So I will answer this on here. So right now I'm actually loving the Extend Satiation BCAAs in the Apple Crisp or something, but I have an entire video dedicated to my supplements and what I like to drink and take on my YouTube. So if that's something that you're interested in, then go check there. But again, if you found this information valuable, please share it out. I wanted to tell you a few of the facts that I found about intermittent fasting and what a lot of the studies are showing. And I actually The first two stats my mom is actually proof of. So intermittent fasting has been shown to decrease blood pressure, to decrease bad cholesterol. And so I hope my mom doesn't mind that I'm giving her a shout out, but she went through the Fast Track to Fit. She did intermittent fasting. She has never had normal cholesterol levels in her life. And after she did 6 weeks of the Fast Track to Fit, she went to her doctor and she had normal cholesterol levels. So that is just her experience. I'm not saying that everybody is going to have that experience, but I just wanted to let you know that I had somebody near and dear to me that did have that experience. And there are studies showing that, you know, people are having that experience. So there's also been studies that have shown a decrease in biomarkers for age-related diseases such as heart disease, diabetes, and Alzheimer's. Diabetic patients are showing improvement in diabetic regulation, but they're still in blood sugar regulation, but they're still doing a lot of research on it. But I think this is a huge step in the right direction into helping people get off medication to really help stabilize those hormones such as insulin. So going through and just answering any more questions. So how about the XCT oil or cordyceps mushroom powder? Will it break my fast? Okay, so the XCT oil, that is basically like the medium chain triglyceride oil from Bulletproof. That's not going to break your fast. It's basically like a fat fast, which we talked about a little bit earlier in the video, Roxana, if you want to replay. Cordyceps, I do like cordyceps. I'll put about a teaspoon in my coffee sometimes, and that is not going to break your fast. So especially if you can get the herbal cordyceps mushroom tea, which I love from Four Sigmatic, that's really good as well. So let's see, just going through answering some questions. Amino Eyes from Young Living is what I have. It has stevia and it has 10 calories a scoop. Is that okay? 10 calories a scoop is probably okay, but I wouldn't go any more than that. How many hours count as a fast? So I typically recommend my clients fasting about 10 to 16 hours. Usually at that 16-hour mark, once you can get into 16, 18 hours, you're really going to start to see the benefits of the fat burn. And so that's what I usually recommend to my clients. Okay, guys, I hope this information was valuable. If it was, please feel free to share it or send me a message telling me that it was valuable to you. And if you have any other questions or anything else that you guys want me to talk about, let me know. And I hope you guys have an awesome day or night. Bye.